Hello everyone, this is Earth Archives. The current sales of electric vehicles around the world are not as good as in previous years, but if you think that electric vehicles are an invention of more than half a century, that may be a mistake. Human beings have always been standing on the shoulders of their predecessors, and electric vehicles are no exception. Today we will look at the development of electric vehicles in history. Before the show starts, please subscribe, share, and turn on the little bell. This will help us grow faster. Without further ado, the show begins. 1832, Robert Anderson invents the first electric carriage. Let me regale you with a tale from the annals of history, a story of innovation and ingenuity that took place in the quaint Scottish countryside. Our protagonist, none other than the enigmatic Robert Anderson, a man shrouded in mystery save for one remarkable achievement. He built the very first horseless carriage, powered by an electric motor. Now, picture this. The year is the 1830s, a time when batteries were about as primitive as they come. Anderson's electric carriage wasn't exactly breaking any speed records or embarking on cross-country road trips. No, sir, it was a humble contraption, limited by the capabilities of its time. But here's the kicker. Despite its humble beginnings, Anderson's creation marked the birth of the electric car as we know it today. Sure, it may not have been the sleek, high-tech machines we're accustomed to, but it was a vehicle propelled by the power of electricity, a true marvel of its era. 1859, Gaston Plante makes the first rechargeable battery. The intricate dance of progress unfolds once more, this time weaving its threads through the realm of battery technology. You see, Anderson's electric carriage, while a marvel of its time, was shackled by the limitations of its battery. A single charge, and then poof. It was as good as a pumpkin at midnight, useless and in need of replacement. But fear not, for in the year 1859, a beacon of hope emerged in the form of Gaston Plante, a French chemist with a knack for innovation. Plante unveiled his magnum opus to the world, the lead-acid battery. Picture this, a battery that not only packed a more powerful punch than its predecessors but could also be recharged time and time again, like a phoenix rising from the ashes. Plante's breakthrough wasn't just a stroke of genius, it was a game-changer. With the ability to recharge, the possibilities were endless. No longer were electric vehicles bound by the shackles of disposable batteries. Now, they could roam the streets with the promise of endless journeys, powered by the magic of electricity. Even today, the legacy of Plante's invention lives on in the standard 12-volt car battery found in gas-powered vehicles. It's a testament to the enduring impact of innovation, proving that sometimes, all it takes is a spark of genius to ignite a revolution. 1881, Camille Faure invents a lighter, longer-lasting battery. Picture this, a world where electric vehicles roam the streets, powered not by clunky, cumbersome batteries, but by sleek, lightweight powerhouses that pack a punch. This wasn't just a dream, it was the reality ushered in by none other than Camille Faure, a visionary chemist with a penchant for innovation. Faure's journey began in the confines of an explosives factory, where he honed his skills as a chemical engineer. But it was his foray into the world of batteries that would cement his legacy as one of history's great innovators. You see, Faure wasn't content with the status quo. He saw the potential for greatness in the humble lead-acid battery and set out to unlock its true power. His stroke of genius, coating the lead plates of his batteries with sulfates, a move that revolutionized the game. Suddenly, these batteries were no longer clunky behemoths weighing down electric carriages and carts. They were sleek, compact powerhouses, capable of delivering a jolt of electricity without breaking a sweat. Faure's innovation didn't go unnoticed. His French patent, filed almost simultaneously with a similar invention by the American inventor Charles Busch, sent shockwaves through the world of science and technology. It was proof positive that the pursuit of innovation knows no borders, that minds around the globe were united in their quest to harness the power of electricity and motorization. 1883, first automobile electric. Imagine this, the year is 1883. And while the world is abuzz with the promise of motorized transportation, one Parisian carriage maker is quietly revolutionizing the game. His name, Charles Gintot, a visionary entrepreneur with a penchant for pushing the boundaries of innovation. You see, while Carl Benz is often credited with inventing the first automobile in 1886, Wilson argues that Gintot may have beaten him to the punch by a whopping 3 years. And how did he do it? With none other than Camille Faure's groundbreaking lightweight lead-acid batteries. Gintot wasn't just your average carriage maker. He was a local legend, known for crafting exquisite horse-drawn carriages for the elite of Paris. But when the winds of change blew through the streets of the City of Lights, Jintou saw an opportunity to harness the power of electricity and usher in a new era of transportation. By 1883, Jintou was already hard at work experimenting with Foray's revolutionary batteries, using them to power custom-built buggies that glided silently through the bustling streets of Paris. While the rest of the world was still grappling with the concept of motorized transportation, Jintou was blazing a trail towards the future. Records show that Jintou wasn't just tinkering in his workshop, he was building and selling his electric buggies to eager customers who marveled at the silent, emissions-free marvels of engineering. And while the first mass-produced vehicles bearing the Jintou brand didn't roll off the assembly line until 1893, his contribution to the world of electric vehicles cannot be overstated. 1893, first electric car displayed in America. Picture this, it's 1893, and the Windy City is buzzing with excitement as the world's Columbian exhibition kicks off in Chicago. This grand event, following in the footsteps of the 1889 World Exhibition in Paris, promised to showcase the cutting-edge marvels of the modern world. And right in the heart of it all, Americans were about to get their first taste of the future of transportation. Enter William Morrison, a Scottish immigrant who found himself drawn to the promise of electricity and batteries. Settling in Des Moines, Iowa, Morrison set up shop in his basement laboratory beneath a quaint jewelry store. There, fueled by his passion for innovation, he embarked on a journey that would change the course of history. In 1887, Morrison unveiled his first prototype automobile, a carriage crafted by the Des Moines Buggy Company, powered by an electric engine that breathed life into just one wheel. It was a modest beginning, but it laid the groundwork for something revolutionary. Fast forward to the 1893 Chicago World's Fair, and Morrison was ready to showcase his updated electric-powered buggy to the world. Amidst a sea of exhibits, there stood Morrison's creation, a testament to the power of innovation and human ingenuity. But Morrison wasn't alone in his quest to redefine transportation. Also on display was the Daimler quadricycle, a gas-powered vehicle that bore a striking resemblance to a bicycle. And according to Wilson, this wasn't a coincidence. Bicycles had already begun to revolutionize transportation in the 1880s, paving the way for the dawn of the automobile age. 1894, the first electric car with regenerative braking. Picture this, it's the bustling streets of Paris in the late 19th century, and the air is abuzz with the promise of innovation. Louis-Antoine Krieger, a contemporary of Charles Jintou, stands at the forefront of a revolution that would transform transportation as the world knew it. In those days, the concept of a horseless carriage was still in its infancy, whether it ran on gasoline, steam, or electricity. But Krieger had a vision of motorized carriages weaving through the cobblestone streets of Paris, revolutionizing the way people moved from place to place. As an electrical engineer, a profession that was still in its nascent stages at the time, Krieger set out to make his mark on history. He crafted his own DC motor, a marvel of engineering that was mounted on the front axle of his carriage, breathing life into the two front wheels with each turn of the wheel. But Krieger's innovation didn't stop there. In a stroke of brilliance that was ahead of its time, his motor boasted a remarkable feature: regenerative braking. This groundbreaking technology allowed the motor to recharge its electric battery every time the carriage slowed down, a concept that wouldn't resurface in modern hybrid and electric cars until a century later. 1897, electric taxicabs come to NYC. Imagine strolling down the bustling streets of New York City over a century ago, and instead of the rumble of gas-powered engines, you're met with the silent hum of electric taxis gliding by. Believe it or not, fully electric taxicabs were not just a futuristic dream but a reality, thanks to the ingenuity of inventors Pedro Salom and Henry Morris from Philadelphia. Their brainchild, the Electrobat, an electric marvel that took the streets by storm. Now, don't let the name fool you. BAT, in this case, stood for battery, not the flying mammal. The original Electrobat was a formidable machine, weighing in at a whopping 4,400 pounds, thanks to a hefty 1,600 pounds of lead-acid batteries. But Salom and Morris didn't stop there. They unveiled the Electrobat 2, a sleeker and more nimble version that tipped the scales at a relatively svelte 1,800 pounds. This upgraded model caught the eye of a New York taxi startup called the Electric Vehicle Company, EVC, which wasted no time in snapping up 200 of these electric wonders. Now, here's where the story gets even more fascinating. Instead of relying on lengthy recharging times, the EVC revolutionized the game by setting up shop in an old ice skating rink on Broadway. This converted arena became a bustling battery swapping station, where depleted batteries were swiftly swapped out for fully charged ones. 1899, an electric car is first to break 60 miles per hour. Picture this, it's the late 19th century, and the world is abuzz with the thrill of long-distance road races and speed trials. Automobile enthusiasts from all corners are revving up their engines, eager to push the limits of speed and endurance. And in the midst of it all, one man is about to make history in an electric rocket-shaped racer unlike anything the world has ever seen. His name, Camille Janatzi, a Belgian engineer with a passion for electric cars. But Janatzi wasn't content with just any vehicle. He had his sights set on breaking records and shattering expectations. And so, he unveiled his masterpiece, Le Jamais Contente, or Never Satisfied. This sleek, rocket-shaped racer wasn't just a marvel of engineering, it was a symbol of innovation and daring. With its 102-volt batteries and two rear-mounted electric motors churning out a staggering 67 horsepower, Le Jamais Contente was a force to be reckoned with. But what truly set it apart were its tires. While most automobiles of the time clung to solid wooden wheels, Janatzi dared to dream bigger. He enlisted the help of Edouard and André Michelin, renowned pioneers in tire technology, to craft a set of 4 pneumatic rubber tires that would revolutionize the racing world. And revolutionize it did. In 1899, with Janatzi at the helm, Le Jamais Contente tore through the speed barrier, reaching an astonishing maximum velocity of 65.8 miles per hour. In a single electrifying moment, Janatzi became the first driver in history to break the 60 miles per hour, 100 kilometers per hour barrier, all behind the wheel of an electric car. 1914, Henry Ford buys his wife an electric car. The roaring 20th century, a time of innovation, adventure, and the rise of the gas-powered automobile. And leading the charge, none other than Henry Ford, the man who put the world on wheels with his iconic Model T. Now, don't get me wrong. Ford was all about gas-powered cars, but that doesn't mean he didn't have a soft spot for electric vehicles. In fact, he and his buddy Thomas Edison spent years tinkering away, trying to whip up an affordable Ford electric car that could rival the Model T. Spoiler alert, they didn't quite hit the mark. But here's the kicker, electric cars were pricey. Like, really pricey. Take, for example, the electric ride Ford splurged on for his wife Clara in 1914, a stylish Detroit electric that set him back a cool $3,730. Compare that to the bargain basement price of $440 for a shiny new Model T, and you can see why electric cars struggled to gain traction. 1920, internal combustion engines take over. The electric car's downfall had an ironic twist, and it all started with a little invention called the electric starter. Picture this, it's 1903, and Clyde J. Coleman just scored a patent for the first ever electric automobile starter. Fast forward a decade, and Charles Kettering of General Motors takes Coleman's idea and kicks it up a notch, slapping the first electric starter into a snazzy 1912 Cadillac. Now, before this game-changing gizmo, starting a car was no picnic. You had to throw your back into it, cranking that engine like there was no tomorrow, a real workout just to get rolling. But once the electric starter hit the scene, the days of the back-breaking crank were over. All it took was a push of a button, and voila! Your car roared to life, leaving the crank in the dust. Sure, it took a little while for electric starters to catch on. Henry Ford wasn't exactly rushing to slap M on his Model Ts until after World War I. But by 1920, the scales had tipped, and gas-powered cars were firmly in the driver's seat. And just like that, the electric car took a backseat to its gas-guzzling counterpart, consigned to the annals of automotive history. What do you think about this story? Please leave your comments. See you in the next episode.